Steven Correño with KOR Sports here with Richard Schaefer, owner and CEO of Ringstar Promotions. Tell us, man, big announcement today, Carlos and Jose Balderas. What was it about them that you wanted them to be the first fighters signed to your promotion?
It's the total package. They have the looks, the skills, the charisma. You saw them today, how they present, bilingual. And and they can fight. They have a punch, and they're exciting. And so I just was, from all the Olympians, irrespective from where they came from, that was my #1 priority. And I'm very happy that it worked out. I know that pretty much every other promoter was after them as well. So I feel very fortunate that they have decided to sign with Ringstar.
That was going to be my next question. What was it, do you think, about Ringstar that brought them over to you as opposed to going to some of the other maybe more established guys?
Well, I think, you look at my track record, what I have done for fighters and how I have empowered them and how I have made them money and how I'm always there. I recently saw an interview from Abner Mares where he talked about my relationship and friendship with him. I'm there for the fighters, win or lose, and I'm empowering them, and I take a personal interest in them. And I think for the Balderases, who are it's a very close-knit family, I think that was one of the determining factors. The fact that I'm in Los Angeles, the fact that I don't have 100 or so fighters, the fact that I'm going to make this a top priority, the top priority. I think these were all contributing factors why they signed with Ringstar.
You mentioned during the press conference that you want, just off the bat, for them to be main event guys already. It's never been done before. Not to say obviously that it can't be done, but there's been obviously higher decorated Olympians coming out, like Andre Ward. He was a gold medalist, De La Hoya, yeah. But even they kind of started on undercards. What is it about these guys that you feel that they could just go straight to the top right away?
Well, I think the first event I want them to be a main event, but if the right slots open up to be on an undercard of a big fight or so, then of course you want to take that, because what that does is it brings tremendous attention to a fighter. Like, we've seen that when I was a Golden Boy and Canelo was fighting on the undercard of Mayweather. It definitely increased Canelo's awareness, and so we want to do the same. We want to do the same here. If there is the right slot, we put them in. So that doesn't mean Carlos or Jose are always going to be the main events.
Definitely want to talk about your December 10th show here at USC, the Galen Center. It's a great card, man. Definitely great first card as a promotion company. First, let's talk about Charlo versus Williams. We did a Fight Guys episode with Sam Watson, and I asked him, I was like, how did that come together? Because these guys, as boxing fans, top prospects, it was kind of one of those fights that we saw in the future. We thought, maybe even a possible pay-per-view or main event on its own, but you guys got these hungry lions together now. How was that?
Well, you have two fighters who want to fight each other, and the media really pushed as well. This was one of those fights the media really helped to make happen. Sometimes you have the media can be an asset to get a fight done, and sometimes they frankly can be a hindrance to get a fight done. But in this particular case, I think they were an asset, and there was a really tremendous interest from the media, from the networks as well, Showtime, and then from the fight fans. I mean, in some of those forums, this was one of the most talked about fights. And as a matter of fact, when Lance Pugmire from the LA Times was listing the 5 fights people look most forward to for the rest of the year, that was one of them. And because styles make fights, and these two guys are like made for each other. This is going to be an unbelievable fight, and it might steal the night. But I have to say, Charlo and Mares to steal the night, I don't know. I mean, Mares and Charlo is going to be fireworks. So I don't really know, but you actually might have 2 fights of the year on one card. And I'm not just saying that lightly, I really mean that.
Yeah, definitely. Cuellar versus Mares is one of the juiciest fights in the featherweight division. Tell us about that, just those two styles going together. kind of the Freddie Roach Garcia rivalry thing.
Yeah.
It just kind of has everything.
So many. You know, I mean, there's a fight which was supposed to happen and then didn't happen, and finally it's happening. I think for Cuellar, you clearly see, as he said, this is the most important and biggest fight of his career, going in against a legend like Abner Mares, division 3-time world champion. And for Mares, at this point in his career, it's sort of like a must-win night, and going for another world title. I mean, it's just amazing. So for one, it's a must-win night, and for the other one, it's the biggest night of his career. I mean, this is just explosiveness. It's just gonna burst that night. I just can't wait. I mean, how exciting, you know, for me to come back here to the boxing game and promote not one fight like that, but with Charlo and Williams, 2 fights like that, 2 fights who really could be fight of the year or fight of the year candidates. So I'm really thrilled.
You guys might get the sweep right at the end of the year too.
Yeah, exactly.
A week after that fight here in LA, your former business partner Bernard Hopkins is fighting at 51 years old. Man, tell us about that? Why do you think he's still fighting? Just tell us what it's like, just knowing Bernard and knowing, you know, his attitude and why he's fighting.
Yeah. Well, you know, almost 52 actually. I think his birthday is in February. And, you know, Bernard is a terrific guy. And why is he still fighting? You know why? Because he can. He can. And I think he's setting an example for anyone, irrespective of age or where they come from, that if you take care of yourself, anything is possible. And that's what he's done. You know, I mean, the lifestyle he lived is paying dividends now. And for him, you know, this is not about money. I mean, he's been in so many fights where he made so much money. It's not about money. I mean, this is like an HBO card week before Christmas and things like that. So this is not like about the money. It's not about the legacy either, because his legacy is established. This is about, in my opinion, knowing Bernard a little bit. You see, I can and I will, and I'm going to go out on my terms, and I want to have my last fight. And that's who Bernard is, and that's how he is.
He's always done it his way, definitely.
Always done it his way, yes.
Definitely just want to get your take on one of the biggest fights that hasn't been made yet, you know, Canelo Triple G. Why do you feel that hasn't been made yet? I mean, you've been there, you've been a Golden Boy, and what happens once it does come together?
Well, you know, you're really going to have to ask Eric Gomez or Oscar De La Hoya that. I mean, between the two of them, one of them has the blueprint and the other one has the playbook. So I'm sure they know what they're doing, and so, you know, I don't know why. I don't know. But those two, between playbook and blueprint, they'll figure it out.
What happens once that fight does come together? What happens?
Well, I think Canelo has a hell of a chance. I personally would pick Canelo to win the fight. I mean, I'm a big Canelo fan. I think Canelo is still a bit underrated, and he still has a lot of people who are, you know, on him for maybe not having taken the the Golovkin fight yet, and so on. But you know, when you're on top, you always have a lot of haters, and that goes sort of like with the territory. But you know, Canelo stays his course, and if he fights his fight, then I think he's gonna win.
Do you feel he would be underrated if Golovkin wasn't around?
You know, it's funny. There's always, like, when you are the sort of like the top dog, you always attract haters and people underrate you. I mean, Oscar had to go through that as well, and other fighters as well. So you always sort of like get the haters and the critics, and that goes with the territory.
They're always going to find somebody, right?
Always going to find somebody. It has nothing to do with Golovkin being there or not. But I mean, Golovkin, what is it, like 22 or so consecutive knockouts or something like that, you know. I mean, that's impressive, and he's exciting, and he's fighting the way people want to see fighters fight, being aggressive, going for the knockout. You know, and so he has the style, and he doesn't care about who he fights, and that's what people like to see. And that's why you really don't see too many people saying negative stuff about Golovkin.
Well, speaking of excitement, it's awesome to see how excited you are to get these fights going. I mean, it's as a boxing fan, I know that we could trust boxing in your hands because you're going to give us the best fights available. Thank you so much, Richard, for the time, and really looking forward to the work. Thank you.